I've heard different stories about what happened, but I don't really know what's true. All I know is that someone came out here and one day both walls looked like this, and then the next day this was completely pushed over and dilapidated. You can see a difference in these two walls. And the difference is this is a professional restoration, at least the lower half. How everything's perfectly lined and stuff. And then if you look at this side, this is where someone attempted to restore the site themselves with good intention. But you can see it's quite obvious. And I think the best thing to do in this situation, whenever you come across something like this, is first notify authorities and then contact the local organizations like Friends of the Forest and people who are professionally can come out and restore these things.
That's ridiculous.
This.
Yeah.
Where you can see scratch marks and stuff.
Yeah.
3 to 4 years ago, this was completely visible. There was legs, arms. They said that this was a map, maybe of some sort, but it was shaped like a turtle. And now you can't even tell what it was.
No.
And that's within 3 years. And all it's from is from people touching it, scratching on it, writing their names on it. But just something as little as people actually touching the rock, over 3 years is going to completely degrade the whole petroglyph. One of the main principles with leave no traces, leave things as you find them. So you would just walk by this. But here's another example of where people take rocks and modify the terrain. This could have been part of a structure at one point, where someone made some type of fire pit thing out of it. And to most people, it's not a big deal. You just walk by, you're like, oh, it's just a pile of rocks or whatever. But over time, that's what happens. All right, here we are at a remote Indian ruin here in Sedona, Arizona. We're going to talk about what to do when you encounter something like this. So first we'll talk about some kind of obvious rules, things that you think would go without saying. But when we're entering these historical sacred places, one thing we like to do is not set our stuff on top of these fragile walls. When we do enter these things, I like to look around. Of course, I don't touch anything, just like I'm in the Smithsonian, I walk around very carefully, being mindful of pottery shards and things like that. And as you walk around, you'll notice the artifacts themselves. So not just the structures, but what's inside. We have pottery shards, corn cobs, grinding stones, things like that. And all these things should stay exactly where they are. One thing that you'll see that happens over time are collector piles. So right over here, we'll see there's a collector pile of grinding stones. Right behind those, we have a collector pile of pottery shards. Over here, we have a collector pile of corn cobs. The problem with these collector piles is that essentially people will come in, they'll see these, and they're gonna recreate what they see. They think that this is what we're supposed to do, is search around, rummage through all the rubble, and then take all of the like items and place them in neat piles. What happens over time is this once immaculate ruin turns into a pile of small artifacts, and then later on people will take these artifacts as souvenirs, and one day there'll be nothing left except a pile of rocks. Something else we don't really think about when we're visiting Indian ruins is trash. So when I come and have a little snack, of course I'm gonna take this wrapper and make sure that I dispose of it properly. One thing people don't think about a lot of times is biodegradable trash. So even throwing pretzels, peanut shells, oranges, banana peels, all that stuff is still trash. One of the leave no trace principles is to leave things the way that we find them. So if you find a ruin that doesn't have peanut shells in it, don't leave peanut shells in it. One thing that you could do is not even bring these things into the dwelling like I have right now. I could just enjoy my snack over there, come back in here, check things out, and then leave. But if I do bring my snacks, I'm gonna make sure that I take the wrapper and I don't leave anything behind. I also like to keep my water in a plastic bottle. Bringing glass into these sites can really compromise the integrity of the area. One glass bottle breaks, and then to try to remove that and clean it up is just gonna include digging, scraping, and it's no good. So real simply, either snack outside, then check out the ruin, or make sure you take everything with you and don't bring any glass. This is one of my favorite sets. And what I love about it is you can see that there's still some mortar left within the walls. They haven't been restored. This is original wall here. There's been some damage to it, but the quality of these ruins is some of the best in the area. You see I'm watching like everywhere that I step, just to have it, but look at these doorways and just how beautiful they are. Everything's still mortared well together. We don't see a whole lot of pottery piles and stuff in here. These are in such great condition, and the reason is because they're a lot less exposed. We haven't seen these go out on social media that much, which is great. And they haven't been accessed. They're not as easy to find, not as easy to access. One thing that I think is important is, we are showing people these things because we love them and we care about them, but we're showing people how to move through them. Look at how beautiful this is, and what can we do to keep it this way? That's what's important. These are the old tooling holes here. I mean, you could walk right over this stuff without even knowing, but this is where they would make arrows and tools, and we've got more mortars. They're called mortars. More of the mortars over there.
Like, I'm learning more and more about this today from Eric. I mean, you can see where this is infilled. That's been repaired. Probably not by someone who's qualified to do it. You can tell by the way the stones are laid.
Exactly.
This is original. That's original. You can see all this stucco still on it and the mud.
This is called, this is what people refer to as a wet stack. This here would be dry stack. So dry stack, anyone can do a dry stack. It's hard to date dry stack. We know that these wet stacks, these ruins, they're original and they've been here for a really long time. To try to replicate this or restore this and make it look like this is literally impossible.
To me, it's just amazing to see the difference just in the walls and what's intact in these ruins that people don't visit as much compared to the other ones we've seen today that have varying degrees of foot traffic.
I think awareness is the most important thing. Being aware of what we're doing, the message that we're putting out there for everyone when we visit these special places, and just being cautious and treating them like sanctuaries.
As much as I do this, I thought I knew a lot more than I did. The collector piles, I didn't know you weren't supposed to do that, but it makes perfect sense. And yeah, that's why I wanted to put the video together, and Eric was down for it. He's obviously really passionate about it. And there's mosquitoes after me, so I think we're done here.